Good morning, everyone. This is Corey Hinkle with your Ankerstar Wealth Daily Update. I've got an interesting show for you today. We're gonna do we're gonna look at Walmart earnings. We're gonna do a Jackson Hole preview. So my base case expectation for what Powell will say tomorrow, what the messaging will be, and potentially kind of what that reaction can or will look like. And then I have some stuff I want to show you on the new Google Pixel 10 phone. Pretty impressive features and interesting implications because of this. So before I start, this is a financial education presentation. You must do your own due diligence before acting on anything you hear in this presentation. More disclaimer information can be found on ankerstarwealth.com, and the opinions expressed are mine alone. All right, with that with the Jackson Hole event tomorrow, the market is kind of flattish today, down about 1/3%. I noticed that there was a tick down in conjunction with the Walmart earnings release, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. You can see we're hovering very close to all-time highs right now. Volatility is pretty low right now. This is kind of that late summer lull that we may have been talking about a few weeks ago with seasonality. So we're seeing some of that. Not a lot of movement. Probably some people maybe more interested in what happens tomorrow to determine maybe their next steps. Walmart, some great earnings this morning, but the stock is down 4%. They raised their full year earnings and sales outlook. I believe revenue was growing north of 4%, which, again, Walmart's one of those top 5 revenue companies in the S&P 500, tons of annual revenue, and growing that at 4% is very healthy for them. So all good there. Now, they did note that they've had to start raising prices on some items and actually blamed tariffs for that. And that was where I think the market ticked down a little bit. The market doesn't want to hear this idea that tariffs are going to have a negative impact on potential inflationary pressure. So interesting, business as usual at Walmart, and that in itself is good news. Okay, a little Jackson Hole preview. We also had a Kansas City Fed official who did an interview this morning, so kind of in uh, as a preview, his own preview of what to expect at Jackson Hole. And he kind of believes there's more work to be done on inflation. So this is what I wanted to show you. So you've got that 12-month CPI. You're sitting right at 2.7% right now. It is above the Fed's stated target of about a 2% long-run inflation target. If I had to guess, the messaging from Jerome Powell tomorrow and from the Fed in general is going to be that the risk of further inflation at this time is still a bit greater than the risk that the job market is looking at. So with that in mind, rate cuts may not come as fast as some would hope. That's kind of my expectation for the meeting. And, we'll see. Now, how do I think the market will respond to that outcome? The Federal Reserve being a little more cautious on rate cuts. I don't know. I would bet maybe more of the same, maybe a slight tick down, just short term in the market. I think the market deep down knows that tons of rate cuts are not best, but they do want a few. They want some clarity on a few and cautiousness around potential inflation. It kind of opens that uncertainty up a little bit, and I don't know that the market will love that. So again, just my prediction. That will be a very interesting event, and we'll either way, we will learn something new about what the Fed is thinking at this time. All right, wanted to jump over to this really cool, in my opinion, and Google ticking higher on the day. Google did announce or launch those Pixel 10 phones. This is Google's flagship phone. Now, if you take a step back kind of into the AI landscape, you've got Google sitting there. Google has the AI offering. So Gemini is a common AI LLM that folks use. So they've got the LLM offering. Google also has the hardware. They have the hardware through the Pixel phones, and they have the hardware kind of through the Android ecosystem. So pretty powerful position to have the AI capabilities and the hardware capabilities in-house. If you look elsewhere, Apple has the hardware. They haven't shown the AI yet. Then you've got others, OpenAI. OpenAI has the AI, but they don't have the hardware. So Google is kind of that one company that's sitting right in the middle with both. They've got the hardware and the AI. So what do we know about this Pixel 10 smartphone? They are integrating AI pretty heavily into these phones and using the Gemini offering. I saw examples where you were talking to someone on the phone about a flight, and it'll pop up your flight information on your phone for you. Or someone texts you and asks you if you're available, and it created a response that said, "I'll be at this restaurant," because it saw it in your calendar. So it's integrating things in a pretty neat way. Now, they do highlight Google's unique position here, having the hardware and the AI. But man, breaking into the Apple ecosystem is a really tall task. So, we'll see what happens there. But I did watch the Marquise Brownlee review, and he highlighted just the quality of the phones and how premium they felt when kind of being hands-on with them. So very interesting. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that Google has a chance to take advantage of some of the hesitancy Apple's had around integrating AI, or do you think that it's totally an impenetrable lead that Apple has established in that premium phone market? So anyway, interesting stuff. We'll see what happens at Jackson Hole tomorrow. And yeah, I hope everybody has a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.